Hello and welcome to the Gym Wars podcast. My name is Cale Owen, the general manager here at Gym Launch, and I'm excited to introduce you to a 4-part series that Alex Hormozi, our CEO here at Gym Launch, did with Dr. Berardi, the founder of Precision Nutrition. And they dive into a ton of different topics that I know you're going to find extremely interesting. But before we hop in, as always, go ahead and hit a like button if you find some value in this. And then also, if you want to learn more and get more content very similar to this, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We're going to be posting a ton of content just like this, and you can get notified when we do. And if you have any comments or anything, make sure to drop them below. And let's go ahead and let's go right into the video.
What's going on, everyone? This is Alex Hormozi. I'm your host of the Gym Wars podcast, where we get in the trenches with fitness professionals. Today, I have a very, very special guest, Dr. Berardi, the man, the myth, the legend, the founder of Precision Nutrition. They've helped 150,000 coaching clients lose weight. They've helped 75,000 fitness professionals find a better career and just do better in general at helping people. And I've been looking forward to this interview for a very long time, or it feels like a very long time. It actually wasn't that long, but it felt like a very long time because I was just so looking forward to it, because the last conversation Dr. Berardi and I had was very impactful for me. And unluckily for everyone on here, it was not recorded. So it was just for my benefit. And so the hope here is that today I'll be able to share some of his special magic with you guys. So Dr. Berardi, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me, Alex. I really appreciate it. And everyone who's tuning in and listening, I appreciate you too. Thanks for being with us.
You might have a nugget behind you, FYI.
Oh, hi, the little one's in. Hey, Buzz. How you doing? Do you need anything? No? You need a hug? Oh, okay, here you go.
And I want the marshmallow.
Oh, I don't have it here. Give me a hug, though. I'm doing an interview, okay? Love ya. I'll see you after, okay?
For everyone who's listening, Dr. Berardi's daughter just came in, and she's far cuter than he is. And,
yes. All right, hang on. I'm going to close the door. Can you close the door, Buzz? Thank you, my friend. Okay, good. Yeah, we have the Arga Academy here, Berardi Homeschool going on. So kids are here every day. Mom and dad are here every day, 24/7, round the clock. They come and go. It's all good.
Well, I have 4 questions outlined that are gym specific or fitness professional specific.
Okay, great.
And I'm just going to come out of the gate swinging. All right. So hopefully everyone who knows, Dr. Berardi's awesome, generally great human being. Very rare to find somebody who's achieved so much success in so many different domains, both, academic, physical achievement in terms of his own bodybuilding and powerlifting career, and now professional achievement in terms of the size of the companies that he has. And I would say philosophical or spiritual achievement in terms of how genuinely good of a human being he is. And so I'm just gonna ask you to take my word for it, and then we're gonna dive in. So first question: the landscape's changed a lot in the fitness world since you got into it.
Yes, it has.
And if you were 18 to 22, years old, whatever age of reason you want to give yourself, where you're responsible for your own decisions, and you had $10,000 squirreled away, and you were to start over today, you were entering into the fitness industry, what would be your trajectory? Or would you get into the fitness industry?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an important question. And I think that latter one is the most important thing. Like, spend a minute, you know what I mean? It's a minute feels like a year in a 18-year-old's life for sure. But spend a minute and figure out if you should be here in the first place. Right. I mean, we do, with my book Changemaker and the company that I'm leading now, Changemaker Academy, we start there. We think about your unique abilities, your values, and some other things around that, and we have specific tools that we walk people through to figure out where should I be? Who am I? So it's essentially, who am I? What am I good at? What do I believe in? And now I choose what career to go into and how to employ my unique abilities in the service of my goals and values. And some of that seems like really highfalutin, disembodied kind of philosophical stuff. But what we're talking about here is just, what are you good at? Like, what do you love? Who are you when you show up in the world and people are around you, look to you for things? What are those things? And that's what the unique ability process is. It's actually not self-generated. It's generated from the people closest to you. So you round up 10 people and you ask them, this series of questions, and you have them fill out this sort of questionnaire, and you get back the information, and then you start plotting like, okay, cool, these people said this, these people said this, and you look for that Venn diagram overlap of who am I to these people? What do they count on me for? What do they believe that I can accomplish? And then do I feel like that's true? And if there's a huge gap between what they say and your self vision, then there's some work to be done for sure.
Right.
And if there's a big overlap, what a fantastic set of clues for, hey, this is me. All right, cool. This is me. Also, I really always encourage people to do this because generally the process is a positive one. You're not asking people to say what your weaknesses are. You ask them to identify your superpowers. So it's really a wonderful self-affirming thing. So I know it feels like we're going to get back to the question of what we should do with our 10,000 bucks in a minute. But the first thing is, don't do something that you're not good at and that the world doesn't want from you and that the people closest to you don't look to you for already. You know, that's so key, right? I think about this. Here's a side note tangent with respect to marketing all the time. People are, how do I do marketing? What's marketing? Whatever. How do I start my marketing? Should I start on Facebook or Instagram or paid ads or whatever? Mm-hmm. The answer is always start within your inner circle, talking to people in the way that people talk to each other, you know, like go to your neighbor, you know, go talk to people in your community, ring people on the phone, send emails to your inner circle, and figure out if the people who already know, like, and trust you would be willing to pay for the thing or even accept it for free, the thing that you want to offer. Because if they don't, the chances that people who don't know you, don't like you, don't trust you are going to pay for it are really, really low. So we start really close to home, right? So it's the same thing, right? Figure out the people who know, like, and trust you, what they think your superpowers are, what they think your gifts are. This is what we call unique abilities. And there's a criterion here. It's the things that you are or could be best in the world at, that you also at the same time enjoy doing. And that when you're doing it, it adds value, right? So these are there's like 3 tiers to this, right? It's not just what you like. You know, it's what you can be world-class at. And it's also not just that, but does it add value when I spend time in this activity? Does it build the thing I want to build? My reputation, my earnings, whatever the case may be. And then we layer values and purpose in with that, right? So the idea is great. Now I know what my superpowers are. Cool. How do I use them in support of my values? You know, the things that I believe in most, that I want to manifest into the world, that I want to see more of in the world, etc. And I always tell this fully made up story to emphasize this. Now, I remember a few years ago, our family started spending the winters in Scottsdale, Arizona. We live in Canada most of the year, but we were like, hey, we're homeschooling. We can go wherever. Why not go somewhere beautiful and warm where we can be outside hiking every day and whatever? So we started going down Arizona. And I remember shopping one time and I saw this bread just in the bread aisle of the grocery store, Dave's Killer Bread. Do you know Dave's Killer Bread?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we don't have, I never saw that in Canada before. And it's a picture of this dude, Dave, I guess, a caricature of Dave, like holding a rock and roll, like electric guitar. And, you know, he's like doing the gym owner / personal trainer thing. He's like pressing his biceps into the guitar. So it looks like, so he's got big arms. He's got long hair. He's like this rock and roll muscle guy, right? And it's like higher protein, lower carb bread, right? And so I was just like, this is so interesting because it's not in some niche shop. It's not in like the gym. It's actually, it's in the grocery store with all the normal breads, the serious breads, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so I had to go look this up, right? And figure out this story. So again, this is fully made up, but I can just imagine Dave, right? Like at a certain point, Dave's a weirdo. He lifts weights. He plays electric guitar. He likes high protein, low carb foods. He loves bread. He's good at baking. And so he somehow figures out how to conjoin all of the weirdness that is Dave, right? This guy's unemployable otherwise. You know what I mean?
He's baking in the front desk lobby, you know, like what's going on?
That's right. And he finds a way to conjoin all of his interests and passions into this one thing. And now he has bread distribution in every major grocery store in the United States, probably other parts of the world too. That's what I hope for everyone listening, right? To not try and conform yourself to a career path that you see presently identified in the world today, because the chances of you being successful in that, the probability is just low, right? If you see someone doing it well already, then they're doing it well already. They have a head start. They have an audience. They're ahead of you by a lot, right? And there's a chance they got to that position because they're doing them, because it's their jam. You know what I mean? So you trying to pretend to be them,
Right.
and compete against them is a
them.
low probability play, right?
Right.
So again, if I were starting out today, this is what I want to do. Spend a minute figuring out who I am. What are my unique abilities? What makes me special? What do people count on me for? What are my values and priorities? How do I serve those with the things that only I can do, that I can be best in the world at? And that's how you launch your career, right? And keeping in mind, again, fitness nowadays, young people going to fitness, think gym owner, person. They only have a menu of like 5 or 6 items, right? Personal trainer, online nutrition coach, gym owner, whatever, right?
Yeah.
The question is, get out a blank sheet of paper and write 50 things you can do in the health and fitness industry, if that's the industry you want to work in, right? Now, some of those on the list will be total shit. They're not worth pursuing, but you want to break open that narrow box of your thinking, that there's only 2 or 3 paths you can go down. One of my most favorite things to do is convince people who think they want to be a coach, personal trainer, whatever, in that capacity, not to do that if it's not the right thing for them. That's one of my favorites, when they have that epiphany, like, JB, after talking to you or hearing you or whatever, I realized coaching isn't for me. I still want to work in health and fitness, but coaching is just the story that I thought had to be my future, because that's what I see all these other people in the conference room doing. And I figured that's how you make it in health and fitness. But there's so many other paths to this, right? I have, after I left PN, they hired a director of product. And this is a guy who's like super interested in working out and exercise, right? So he wanted to work in the space, but he never tried to conform, right? He also liked technology and coding, and you know what I mean? So he was like this hybrid, like gamer slash exerciser, really weird. You don't fit into either community fully well, right? But he ended up getting training. He's ambitious, got good at both. And so then he became like a product head. So he creates digital products. He was working at MindBody prior to PN, one of the biggest, software tools across multiple industries. Yeah. And then he came to lead product at PN. I remember doing this search, right? Like, we want to hire a head of product for the company to sort of replace some of the work that Phil, a co-founder, and I were doing. And I'm like, holy shit, like, these guys get paid between $500,000 and $700,000 a year. Like, not as entrepreneurs, just working in a job with safety and security, wow. Okay. That's going to be personal trainer almost every day of the week. And it was just so interesting to think about, like, you can really bring all of yourself and find these roles. And they're so in demand that people are paying CEO kind of prices for them. That's where I want young people entering the industry to think, do you like storytelling and health and fitness? Okay, there might be a career in marketing for you. Like, marketing is, partly I like data, partly I like storytelling, and you like health and fitness, cool. Align with the brand that needs storytelling and someone passionate about the space. I remember, like, again, PN's grown so much over the years, and I'm no longer involved, but I watch what they're doing and I continue to root for them. And I mean, they've doubled their staff since I was there. It's a lot of people they had to hire in the last 3 years. And most of those hires are not people who worked as coaches. They're people who had a personal transformation. Maybe that was meaningful in regard to their health and food and everything, but have other skills, business skills, accounting skills, finance skills, marketing skills, writing skills, technology skills. And they brought them together and they're highly in demand because there's not a lot of people who figured out how to do that. So anyway, I'm not sure it's the exact direction you wanted to go with the question, but this is where I think people ought to start, right? Find that thing, and if the answer is gym owner, that's still cool. You know what I mean? 10 grand isn't going to get the job done, as you know. Not yet anyway. But before going into that, really do this other work first.
And I think one of the interesting highlights, because like on a personal level, like I had one personal training client, and the client paid me $2,400 a month in cash, like actual cash. And that's what I lived on.
Yeah.
That's it. I just had this one client. And I knew that I didn't want to do any more than this one client because I really, truly hated it.
Yeah.
Just like the idea of just like, all right, one more set, let's count. Yep. Keep your elbows forward. Like, it's just like, it honestly felt like menial to me. Now there's nothing wrong with that for those who do it and who love that. It just wasn't for me. And I was like, but I thought there was only personal training and gym ownership. Like what else is there in the gym space? And obviously it turned out that there was other plays for us to make within that world, but I just wanted to reinforce the point. Let me ask you a quick tag along there, because there's people like like Gary Vee, if you're familiar with him, and the kind of the anyways influencer space, and he says you want to taste as many things as you can. Do you feel like that is in direct contrast to what you said, or do you feel like that's in parallel?
That's a great question. I love that one. We could set it up as a dichotomy, but there's no reason to, right? The idea of tasting as much as you can points at the idea that you can't possibly know what you're going to be world class at when you never tried to be good at anything before, right? You can't possibly know what you'll like and be passionate about unless you've actually touched and felt and spent the days doing that thing, right? The question though becomes, is there enough life to try and taste everything?
Totally.
You know what I mean? And are you 80 before you find out what thing you liked, So I think we have to do a hybrid of the two, right? So navel gazing, for the next 10 years isn't going to work, right? You're not going to figure out the answers to these questions alone. That's why you use friends, by the way. The second thing is that if you start tasting randomly, the chance of hitting on the thing is lower than if you have some introspection prior to beginning the tasting process. So I don't want to taste 1,000 things. I want to taste 20 in the range of things where the probability of me being successful is going to be higher, right? And that's why I really don't like this kind of dualistic thinking that a lot of people will set up, because all I ever think about is probabilities. It's all I ever talk about with our kids, with my partner, with work. It's just like, how do I nudge the probability up in my favor? That's all we can ever do. We have no control over the world.
Right.
We have no control over outcomes. But can I stack the deck in my favor? And the way to do that is begin with a thoughtful process, right? So I agree with Gary Vee's thing. You got to try a bunch of stuff, but maybe try the stuff in one industry that you've already identified as probably a good industry for you, that increases the probability of this working out. And I'd rather have higher probability than random chance,
Totally. So it's like, I like fitness. It's like, but I might also like manufacturing. And so maybe that means I want to do apparel, or, and have some sort of apparel brand, or I like cooking and I like nutrition. It's like, well, maybe it's some sort of food angle, or maybe it's a delicious snack angle, or pre-prepared, packaged good angle. Or I like people. I have to deal with people every day. It's like, well, maybe you are a good coach, because you want to talk to people every single day, but you could also be in sales for a software company that does fitness. Right. And so anyways, I love this. I just wanted to sprinkle that in to see how you would meld the two.
That was great. I love that. I love that idea, because people bring that up all the time, and it does feel like competing advice at a certain point. So
without
like
context.
I like the chance for clarification.
Oh, that's perfect. So, I'm gonna recap, encapsulate if I can, what you said for the answer to the 10,000 question, and I think it's really not about what JB would do if he started over today, because he's him, and he's going to have a very different skill set, unique ability, desire, and likelihood of success in an industry than somebody else who's listening to this. And so you shouldn't be the best JB or the best Alex, because we're going to beat you at being ourselves. But you should just be the best you, which we could never beat you at. And so I think, and it's just having the transparent feedback from those around you who know you. who give you the fast track of getting that info you need.
Yeah, that's a great summary. I'll highlight that with just a little story, and then we can move on. I was at an event the end of 2019, right before COVID, and there were no events. And I remember sitting in the audience, and I watched the procession of speakers. They're all great, they're all world class, but everyone was so fundamentally different. And I remember listening to the audience and just watching them and thinking that most of the people in this room are looking up to the stage, figuring out how they can be the next, whichever speaker resonated with them, and how bad of an approach that was, you know? Because again, everyone up there was a little weird and different, you know what I mean? In their own way. And it was just, gosh, if I could impart anything on this group, it's that. It's, you got to figure out who you are and go hard at that, craft it into like high level, world-class professionalism. And that's the only way you make a spot on that stage. You know, you, as long as I'm still in the game, you won't replace me. I have too much experience, you know, I have too much practice, right? So you got to be something different, an alternative to me.
All right, how awesome was that? Well, good news is that's not done. So we broke this up into a 4-video series, and on the next video, Dr. John Berardi and Alex are going to hop into question number 2. So we'll see you on the next one.